to day 1 of Strong Mobile Free. I am so incredibly stoked that you are here in order to gain awareness of where your body is in space, learn how to gain strength, learn how to build muscle, learn how to improve the mobility as we're building strength and what that looks like really within the body, and just learn for your own body so that you can increase that awareness so that when signals comes up like pains, aches, tension, stress, whatever is happening within the body, you know what you need to do within your own body and you don't have to rely on anyone else except tapping in. So that's what we're going to really be going over, how to improve all of these areas in order to increase your own awareness of learning what those signals mean, learning how to tap on, learning how to strengthen, learning how to mobilize, and learning how to feel free within your body. So I'm so stoked. All right, we're going to get started here. Now, the first thing that we're going to start with is a little bit of a warm-up. So I have a timer going. It's about a 4-minute warm-up, a little tiny HIIT. So it's really easy, only 3 movements, 3 rounds. That's it. You can always increase it if you want more. And then a 4-minute cool down as well. So in this 4 minutes already starting, we just want to start by bouncing. Now, it's going to look a little funny, but I actually want you to start to get as loose as possible and just bouncing on those toes. If you don't feel comfortable with that, literally just bouncing on those heels. So loosen up those knees, bounce on those heels, and you don't even have to be going very high, but it's about relaxing and letting those limbs just hang, letting the body just go, not caring what's jiggling and what's moving, because we're actually helping to stimulate our lymph when we're doing that. And when lymph starts to move better within our body, which clears out our toxins and gets our fluids moving, we actually help to stimulate our fascia and get our fascia to release so that we can mobilize, we can move, we can feel better within our body. So bouncing is such a good thing to do. Some people get those little rebounders and they do it on the rebounders. A lot of people do it before they're going to go speak, just so that they can get fluids moving and things feeling good within the body and loose and relaxed. Okay, so this is a great warm up to really actually help stimulate that fascial tissue, which you wouldn't even think about, right? But it is one of my favorite ways to just be able to relax, move, and get in tune and in touch with my body. Okay, so after a little bit of bouncing, that was probably a little bit more than we could have done, but it's okay. Take this back leg. We're going to tuck the toe under. We're going to do a standing hip flexor. So soft bend, particularly in the front leg. Tuck that tailbone under. So we're thinking about drawing this hip bone up toward my rib cage, squeezing in my bum. So as I tuck under, I'm going to squeeze in this bum, try to squeeze and straighten out that back leg as much as possible. Lift this arm up toward the ceiling and then reach over, breathing, and then coming back out. Again, switch. Tuck the tailbone under, rib cage down, squeeze the bum, reaching up as high as I can, lengthening out this hip flexor, and then reaching over so that I get that spine away from my hip as much as possible and really opening up this hip flexor. So this is way better of a hip flexor stretch than this, because all that's doing is putting pressure into my low back, keeping my hip bone away, which actually shortens my hip flexor rather than lengthening it. So if I want to lengthen, I pull it away from my spine. So tucking my hip under, squeezing, lengthening, opening, 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 and reaching over. Okay, last one on the other side. Tuck that tailbone under, reach up, and reach over. So this is something that you can do so easy at work. It could be before you go for a run. It doesn't even have to be while you're just at home. Okay, hip hinge reach to start to open up how we hip hinge here. Okay, so I'm going to, again, put a soft bend into my legs. I'm going to think about shifting my hips as if I'm reaching my hips for a wall. So reach your hips for a wall as I reach out in front of me. You can even take a step away from the wall and try that by reaching that bottom back, reaching those arms out. So what that will look like from the side, getting a good stretch into those hammies, reaching into that shoulder flexion and pulling your body back this way and then coming back up. Body back, reach, reach, reach. And then coming back up, okay? Getting used to that hip hinge pattern teaches us how to move from our axis point. This is our mid-axis point. Moving well from the hips is so important to relieve tension from the back and take tension off of those knees as well. Okay, now we're gonna get into more of that strengthening workout and that HIIT. So right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna think of a lateral bear crawl. Okay, so I'm gonna take my toes, tuck them under, and I'm gonna press into my shoulders, press into those fingers. So if you wanna keep pressure off of those wrists, you press into those fingers, hover those knees. I'm gonna walk to the side 3 times, trying not to wiggle, and then I'm gonna give myself a little push-up and press back. Walk 1, 2, 3, push up and push back. I'll explain how to modify that, especially if you want to stay off of your hands for the next round. Okay, the next one that we're going to do is we're going to come up and we're going more into a squat jump from narrow to wide. Now, this is going narrow, means it's even inside of your hips a little bit more, which can put a lot of tension onto your knees if you don't have adequate hip range of motion. So instead, go a little bit softer, hips toward that back in that hip hinge position, and then jump and open up those knees, squeeze through the glutes as much as possible. Keep that chest up. Squat only as low as you can, and squat, opening those knees. Squat as low as you can, open those knees as low as you can. Now realize, as low as I can doesn't mean I'm hitting my knees together. So a narrow squat is still going to be knees over my second toe, okay? Last little exercise is just going to be a bridge walkout. So when I'm going to come onto my back, open up my hands actually, so I'm not rounding and pressing into my shoulders. I'm going to open up my hands, press through my legs, squeeze in my bum, and keep my rib cage down. So this is the bridge. From here, you can just hold here. Isometric holds are beautiful and sustainable and good for our bodies. If you want more of a challenge, without moving the hips side to side, walk out 1 foot, and then the other, and then the other, and then coming right back. 2, 3, okay? Ribs stay down, hip bone tight. So you want to think tightening hip bone to hip bone. We're going to dive into a lot of what that means in day 3. So don't worry about it right now. And that is 1 round. So easy, right? Maybe not. Okay, now if you want to stay off of those hands, but we're still working on like kind of more of that lateral control, I want you to just come into a plank. So we're going to take out the push-up completely. We're going to take that tailbone, tuck it under, and we're just going to walk out to the side here, coming back to the middle, out to the side, here, back to the middle, side, moving, side, middle. If that is too much, come onto those knees and out to the side, back to the middle, pressing through my shoulders, keeping that tailbone down, squeezing my bum, pulling that rib cage, and breathing. Breathing is like key above anything. Breathing. Now if you don't want to jump on the narrow and wide, no problem. Movement, constant movement, getting that heart rate up is what's key here. So I'm going to come down into that low narrow squat. I'm going to step 1 leg out, other leg out as wide as I can. Maybe hold it for a little bit, and then 1 leg back in and in. This also helps with balance. Okay, open, open, squeeze those bums out to the side. Bums, well, you do have 2 cheeks there. Okay, out, out, in, in. So this is a modification from the jumping, because you do not have to jump, but I do want you to stay moving. Get that heart rate up, get those legs feeling it, get that lactic acid kind of building up and feeling that, okay? Breathing, nasal breathing. We'll talk more about that in day 5 and what that really means. So much information to go through in just 15 minutes. Really such a challenge for me. Okay, arms out. Again, rib cage down. Tuck that tailbone up. Abs flat, squeezing, tucking under so we're not arching from our back here. Tucking under and kind of thinking, can I make everything really tight and just hold here? Can I feel my heels, the balls of my feet, my big toes, and just press and hold? You don't even have to walk. Okay, so here is a modification for that bridge walkout, and just breathing and holding. Again, breathing is key. We do not want to lose that breath. Okay? And then we'll go into the last round, and that's it. Getting a little bit of movement, feeling what that feels like within the body. Now, I want to go over the lateral crawl. And so pressing here, my knees are only an inch off the ground, and I walk trying not to wiggle anything, trying to keep it stable, 3 steps. And then I'm going to take my nose and dive it forward so I get more into a tricep push-up and then coming right back. So this is very advanced, okay? You do not have to start here. Tricep, maybe you're just walking back and forth and not doing the push-up. Maybe you're doing more of the plank movement side to side, okay? So this is, if you want to make it much more advanced, that is how you can do it. Same with the squat jumps. You can always make something harder or easier. It depends on your body. You get to listen to your body though, okay? So if you can go lower and stay low that entire time, that is going to make it a lot harder. Now notice I'm not rounding in my spine here, okay? My chest is still staying up and extended, and I'm really using those legs and those glutes as I jump in and out, and I'm keeping my knees over my second toe. So important here, guys. Keeping the knee over the second toe, whether it's forward or out to the side, and stay moving. So you can always make it more advanced. I'm getting tired already even. Or you can take it down and make it a little easier. Okay, last one on that back. Flipping those hands up, rotating those hips, rib cage down, hip bone, nice and tight, okay? And we walk out. One foot and then the other foot. You want to feel the contact with the entire foot. Walk it in. Walk it out. What we're doing is we're actually working the core with the hamstrings all the way down to the feet, all the way up through the pelvic floor and around through the front of the body, okay, and the glutes. So it really is just such a good one. It adds stability and rotation, anti-rotation to those hips, to the core, in order to keep everything stabilized and getting strong. But again, you don't have to be stepping. You could just be holding that bridge. Okay? Now, we're going to go into a lovely, lovely cool down. Okay, so first of all, for this cool down, I'm just going to come here. I'm going to do an active hamstring. So I'm going to grab the back of my leg here, let my arms relax. And first, I'm just going to start with my foot pointed up toward the ceiling as high as I can, and then coming right back down. So I'm going to start with about 5 of these. Now, if you're starting to feel a back pull or it's really intense for those hamstrings, this is exactly where you'll stay, okay? We want no tension in the back when we're doing any kind of nerve flossing. Think of this like taking that nerve and kind of putting tension on it and pulling it through that muscle. So if this is too much for you, this is where you're gonna stay, okay? Flexing at the bottom, pointing more at the top. Now, and try that on both sides, see what that feels like to flex and then point at the top, okay? Oh, relaxing, breathing. Focus. So I talk a lot about breathing in day 1, okay? Finding that clarity within the body so that we know where we need to open up and how we can listen to those different signals that start to happen within the body. So I really want you to think about a nice slow breathing, about a 4-second inhale, and an 8-second exhale, doubling that exhale so that we can learn how to turn on that parasympathetic. Now, if that was a little too easy, what you're going to do here, keep it from a flex or go from a point. Now we're going to increase the tension by going into a flex. Now you might start to feel it coming all the way down. Again, if this is intense for the back, do not do it. Okay? No fun in pushing through pain. We don't want pain while we're learning and while we're moving and while we're learning how to listen to the body. So listen to your body. If you feel pain, back off, go to this one. Okay? Now, if it's just a lot of tension and you're just not used to it, just go as much as you can and come right back down. It's not a sustained hold. It is nice, slow breathing, and we're just getting that tension on the nerve to kind of move it through and then learn how to relax. Okay, so this is an active hamstring stretch, utilizing and moving into those nerves. So I'm going to end you out here with a hamstring wall stretch, one of my favorites and always the challenger's best and favorite one. Now, if you can't get your bum all the way out, scoot it back, let those legs relax. The point is that you have a release of tension in these legs and they're not straining and trying to get straight, okay? For me, I can pull my bum all the way up to the wall. I have no tension. I'm nice and relaxed, okay? The goal here is the breathing. So again, going to that 4-second inhale, feel on this low rib cage and belly. So not just the belly, I want you to feel this low rib cage. As you breathe in 4 seconds, can you feel those hands come apart? As you breathe out 4 seconds, can you feel those hands come back together? And then can you increase the exhale? So 4-second inhale, 8-second exhale. Okay, or you can do 4 and 4 if that's what you feel more comfortable. You could do 4 and 8, 4 and 10. Really feel what that feels like. Listen to your body. Understand what breath pattern works better for you. Sometimes people like to do a longer inhale and then a shorter exhale, and it actually feels better. But we do know that if we increase and we focus on the exhale, we will help to turn on that parasympathetic, that rest, relax. We'll dive into a lot more of that in day 5, but I do appreciate you guys moving with me, starting to become in tune and in touch with the body and what that means. And we're going to continue to dive into this as we go through this week. So thank you. Stay here for as long as you want to. Relax in those legs, relax in those hamstrings, get that tension off that low back, and enjoy your day.